Lin sent the sheep-headed monster out with a satisfied smile. Then he quickly grabbed his left hand and returned to the shop. Truce. Lin's expression was serious. It's impossible for you to eat me temporarily. Our matters, I suggest we postpone dealing with them. Right now, I have more urgent matters. Only a fool would listen to you. In an instant, Lin's left hand swelled up and opened its blood-filled giant mouth towards Lin. Sharp teeth were within arm's reach, and the long tongue made terrifying sounds as it moved. Whoosh! Almost in an instant, Lin's entire head was engulfed in its mouth. But then, the left hand paused, mumbled vaguely, "Why didn't you dodge?" Lin, with his head in its mouth, calmly said, "I know you won't actually eat me. I've had a bit too much pesticide, and my head was a bit unclear just now. Now that I've calmed down, I understand. You simply won't eat me." The left hand sneered, "Is that so?" Lin continued, "Because we're probably in a mutually beneficial relationship. If I drink pesticide and you react, and vice versa, then if you eat my head, you probably won't survive either, right?" The left hand paused. Lin closed his eyes and calmly said, "Am I right?" A brief silence. It returned to its original size, and it showed a fanged grin at Lin. Lin wiped the saliva off his head, squinted, and said, "It seems I was right." The left hand opened its mouth, gnashing its teeth. "No, I'm just not sure what bad reaction I'd have after biting off your head, but that doesn't mean I won't eat you." Clearly, the pesticide incident had caused significant psychological trauma. Ding. Your quest, body's reaction, current completion 50. Introduction. Through a large amount of pesticide, you've cast doubt on whether the mutant would survive after killing you. However, the mutant still holds strong hostility towards you. Ding. You've triggered the second stage of the quest, erasing the time limit. Quest objective. Survive in your interactions with the mutant. Don't let the mutant realize that killing you would actually be harmless. Wait a moment. Does this mean that it's actually okay for it to kill me? What kind of joke is this? If it had bitten me just now, wouldn't I have died in vain? Lin's sanity -10. Huh? The left hand with exposed fangs moved, glaring at Lin, who suddenly started sweating. But Lin wasn't an ordinary person. The calm mindset he had developed over the years allowed him to quickly regain the nonchalant expression he had before. Lin casually said, "Let's talk about serious matters." He forced himself to be calm. He played with the mysterious silver fragment on the counter and said quietly, "The creature that came last night was created by the Mage Association. I saw my teacher mention this organization in his diary. According to the records in the diary, my teacher was once a member of this organization. Although I don't know what happened." Lin pondered. "Based on yesterday's experience, my teacher probably had deep conflicts with this association. The flesh puppet that came here last night was actually here to exterminate us. It just didn't find my teacher and found me instead." The left hand sneered. Lin stood up, pacing back and forth, and continued, "Moreover, looking at these fragments, the influence of the Mage Association has already infiltrated the vicinity. After we took down that puppet last night, the Mage Association must have already known about what happened here through special means." The left hand said, "I killed it, not you." Ignoring its words, Lin thought aloud, "And if I were them, I would definitely continue to send people here to investigate or clean up. If they find out I'm just an ordinary human, they'll undoubtedly kill me without hesitation. Either tonight or tomorrow, we will definitely face the second wave of crisis." Lin made a profound analysis and conclusion. The left hand infuriatedly said, "What's it got to do with me? Don't think you can stay out of this. We're in this together now. If I'm killed, you'll be done for too." The left hand said, "Humph." Lin then showed a relieved expression, patting its dog head, and said, "Calm down. Although I don't know how you mutated, you are still a part of my body. Moreover, you are my left hand, the part I use the most. According to reason, you should feel quite close to me. Comfort experience +1. Comfort experience +1. The left hand said, "Fine, let's make it clear. The people who come here must be eaten by me, not you. Also, no drinking pesticides. Cooperation only lasts for 2 days. Deal." Lin carefully searched through the empty shell of the flesh puppet but couldn't find his lost revolver and bone-cutting knife from yesterday. Moreover, judging by the introduction of his left hand, his biggest trump card, the heart of the faceless demon, was probably now a part of this entity. In other words, his revolver and knife were very likely swallowed by it. Lin frowned. He glanced at his left hand, sleeping with zzz sounds. "Should I search for them?" Lin pondered. Then he made a bold decision. A long tentacle sprouted from his shoulder instantly. Then, under Lin's careful control, he used the tentacle to enter the mouth of his left hand. So deep. Strange. It seems this mutant is not that simple. Although it appears to be growing on his body, it might actually have its own unique internal structure. Lin explored with closed eyes, feeling every detail. Finally, he reached the deepest part without any hindrance. Lin's tentacle immediately touched numerous indescribable undigested meat chunks and mechanical structures. Lin contemplated. Then he started digging in and out. Ding, you obtained broken core X1. Ding, you obtained decayed flesh tissue X1. Ding, you obtained demon hunter revolver X1. Ding, you obtained bloodsaw bone cutting knife X1. Lin's eyes lit up. Found it. As expected. His guess was correct. All his equipment was swallowed by this mutant. Whoosh. Lin retracted his tentacle, smirking as he looked at the sticky revolver and knife. Click. He opened the safety. No signs of damage whatsoever. After all, these were legendary grade items. How could they wear out so easily? He was complete again. Then his gaze shifted to his left hand, still soundly sleeping with his mouth propped open. How about taking this opportunity to find more items? Maybe there are some intact things on that monster's body. After all, opportunities don't come twice. Thinking this, Lin's excitement surged. He reached in with his tentacle again, cautiously exploring. Ding, you obtained Eye of Focus X1. Ding, you obtained Dragon's Breath Hand X1. Ding, you obtained Spirit Hair X1. The left hand only felt something long and thick continuously entering its mouth, unpleasantly poking its insides each time. Snap. The bubble at the corner of its mouth burst. It woke up. Then, in an instant, it saw Lin controlling a tentacle inserted into its mouth. Left hand, wow, 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 damn it. This entity actually took advantage of its sleep to violate its mouth. Shameless, perverted, disgusting. Enough is enough. Click. The sharp teeth at the corner of its mouth instantly snapped shut. Splat. Lin's controlled tentacle was bitten in half. Ding. Host's life points lost. The left hand swallowed the tentacle, grumbling, "What the hell? What the hell? Why are you sticking such weird things in my mouth? Do you want to fight?" Then it instantly saw the pile of sticky limbs and flesh Lin had pulled out. In an instant, the left hand was dumbfounded. Lin reached out, coughed, and said, "Listen to my explanation. I just wanted to find some items I lost yesterday. I didn't mean to start a war with you, really." Brief silence. Next moment, clang 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 clang. The left hand took up the knife and started hacking madly at Lin. Lin, forced to it, raised his knife to block. "Let me explain. Give me a chance to explain. I'll kill you. Kill you. How dare you snatch food from my mouth? How dare you secretly take out things I swallowed? And even use those weird tentacles to stick into me? You're done for. I'll kill you." Clang 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 clang. After a brief moment of peace, they once again engaged in a life and death struggle. But just at this moment, a system prompt sounded in Lin's ear. Ding, you triggered the quest, Restless Night. Quest objective, survive during the search of the 3 hunters. Lin gripped the knife tightly, his expression instantly serious, saying, "Quiet, just as I expected, they're here." The soul lamps outside the door flickered and then dimmed quietly. This meant, nightfall. Ghost Alley, black mist surging. Target search, blood puppet type 3 bloodstains found. Sample collection in progress. Sample matching complete. Scene reconstruction in progress. In the black mist, a spider-headed monster raised its head. The eyeballs in its eye sockets instantly reddened, projecting a bloody scene on the ground. In the scene, the bloody scenario of the blood puppet's death the previous night appeared. Apparently, it used special means to reconstruct yesterday's scene. Scenario analysis. Blood puppet died from internal consumption and disintegration. Information transmission complete. Danger level assessment. Grade A. Further investigation can be conducted. Click click click. The massive spider body slowly moved its giant abdomen, walking out of the black mist. And behind that monster, 2 others identical to it followed. The sharp spider legs were like blades. Learning from the last experience, this time he didn't stick to the wall, just in case the opponent broke through the wall for a surprise attack. Lefty, Lin seriously opened the safety, saying, "You're agile. Crouch above the door frame, we'll cooperate. If anyone comes in, we both attack together. I'll use the tentacle to entangle it, and you can directly swallow it. Don't worry, this time, all the prey is yours. Don't call me Lefty. Do you think we have a good relationship?" But it still quietly stretched out, spreading its 5 fingers, floating above the door frame. Compared to yesterday, he now had a ferocious helper that could devour anything. And this time, judging from the prompt, it definitely wasn't the blood puppet. In that case, he had the strength to fight. Lin squinted, like a cheetah in the dark, waiting for the right moment. Time slowly passed. It was unknown how long had passed. And at the next moment, Lin's pupils contracted. he instantly saw a figure slowly appearing at the entrance of the pharmacy. "Now," Lin shouted. Without a word, the tentacles burst out, instantly wrapping the figure in place. Meanwhile, the left hand hidden above the door frame also swelled instantly, opening a huge mouth and fiercely swallowing. In an instant, the huge mouth transmitted two terrified voices. Lin was stunned. Why does this sound seem somewhat familiar? "Stop, stop, we're on the same side," Lin exclaimed, reaching out his hand. A few minutes later, the sticky blood cloak evil spirit and the cute baby sat back to back on the doorstep, saliva flowing down from their bodies. "It feels like we just had a nightmare," the blood cloak evil spirit murmured dazedly. The baby stuck out its tongue, licking the sticky fluid on its mother's face. Lin pulled back his left hand, astonished, and said, "Ladies, how did you get here?" The blood cloak evil spirit shook off the saliva from its head and looked at him seriously, saying, "Of course, we were worried about you. You rushed out so urgently during the day, and now it's night. If we encounter those monsters from last night again, what should we do?" Lin was moved. Indeed, after the battle side by side last night, their relationship had clearly improved. "And what is this?" The blood cloak evil spirit looked warily at Lin's left hand. When it saw the crack in the palm, it became even more vigilant. "Let me introduce." Lin smiled, pointing to his left hand, saying, "This is the guy that mutated from me last night. It's the one that devoured that monster. Since it's my left hand, I temporarily named it Lefty." Lefty instantly bit Lin's right hand. The blood cloak evil spirit was instantly shocked, saying, a hand." In her mind, scenes from last night's terrifying scene appeared, showing the monster being gradually devoured from the inside. She felt an inexplicable sense of weirdness. "No need for pleasantries." Lin restrained Lefty forcefully, calmly saying, "Tonight won't be peaceful. After the puppet died yesterday, the organization it belonged to will definitely send people to investigate." From the mist outside the main gate, there instantly came the sound of something like blades hitting the ground. The two exchanged glances, understanding each other without words. Lin quickly swung up to the ceiling. The blood cloak evil spirit also transformed into its true form, floating lightly on the shattered ceiling like an octopus, nails slowly growing, eyes revealing a hint of morbidity and excitement. And the baby was hung on the door frame by its mother's tentacle, blinking its eyes while looking at Lefty, which was also waiting for an opportunity on the side. "Lick." The baby stuck out its tongue, licking Lefty. Lefty was confused, looking at the baby blinking its eyes. "Lick." It also tried sticking out its tongue to lick the baby's face. "Lick, lick." The two creatures became happy. For a while, like two kindred spirits who found common interests, they happily licked each other. The joy between monsters was so simple. Watching the absurd scene on the door frame, Lin urgently lowered his voice, saying, "Stop licking. Stop licking. Someone's coming." At the same time, in the mist outside the door, three humanoid spiders, large conglomerates of bodies, slowly appeared in front of the gate. Target location confirmed. Scanning in progress. The leader's eyeballs instantly glowed red. The gaze immediately fell on the empty shop. Almost in an instant, Lin swung down, aiming the gun with one hand directly at the leader's eyeball. Bang! A gunshot. The demon-hunting bullet instantly pierced the air, landing directly on the eyeball of the monster. Crack, crack, crack. In an instant, the sacred power spread throughout the monster's body, and countless electric currents surged through it. "No need to hide. These are biological puppets again. Prepare for battle," Lin shouted. After hearing the mechanical synthesized sound coming from outside the door, Lin knew that the opponent had scanning capabilities. But since they had already come to his doorstep, he might as well face it head-on. Target locked. Target identified. Target: extermination of blood flesh puppet type 3. Highest danger level. Hunting. Almost in an instant, the bodies of the three monsters moved. In an instant, the bodies of the three monsters turned into multiple afterimages, and on their arms, a mantis-like blade grew instantly. So fast, and in front of Lin, the interface of the three monsters appeared almost at the same time. Biological mechanical aggregation. Extremely fast speed and powerful healing ability. The top hunting tool of the Devil Association, known for its speed and agility, possessing powerful slashing and tracking abilities, often used by the Devil Association to execute hunting missions. It is an extremely powerful hunting tool because it lacks a soul, making it immune to attacks and curses on the spiritual level. Sure enough, it was a creation of the Devil Association. Almost in that instant, the three hunters targeted Lin and swiftly launched their rapid attacks. And almost at the moment when the hunter's mantis blade crossed Lin's face, a pair of crimson claws pierced through. "Leave it to me." In an instant, in the form of an evil spirit, the blood cloak evil spirit appeared by his side, with half-meter-long sharp nails clashing with the blades of the two hunters. In her crimson eyes, excitement and morbidity flickered. "Then, I'll leave it to you," Lin shouted. Without a second thought, he quickly distanced himself, and his left arm rapidly shortened, returning with a snap to his side. "Leave this hunter to us. Left hand, bite it," Lin roared. The left hand instantly grew, opening a huge bloody mouth with a shape, saying, "No need to teach me." Like a long snake, the left hand attacked the hunter. Boom! A loud noise. The terrifying power of the left hand instantly created a large pit in the hunter's location. But the hunter's speed was simply too fast. Almost at the moment when the left hand launched the attack, it quickly reacted, leaping like a gecko. Its sharp 8-bladed spider legs pierced into the wall. The red light in its eyes flickered rapidly. Target analysis. Unknown biological entity. Initiating hunt. The two mantis' blades in its hands instantly shot out sharp electric sparks. The next moment, its entire body spun like a blade whirlwind, rushing towards Lin at an extremely fast speed. The bricks on the street were swept up by the terrifying blade, flying into the air. Without hesitation, Lin bit his teeth, controlling his body to grow 4 tentacles, swiftly retreating. At the same time, he pulled the trigger. Bang bang bang. One after another, demon-hunting bullets fell onto the terrifying blade whirlwind. Under the divine damage attached to the bullets, the speed of the hunter was instantly significantly reduced. "Left hand," Lin shouted. "Leave it to me." The left hand instantly retracted, opening its bloody mouth. The long tongue split into 2, then 4, turning into hundreds of long tongues in an instant, slashing like swords towards the blade storm. Clang, clang, clang. A huge metallic impact sound echoed, countless sparks burst out. The seemingly soft tongue, upon touching the blades, revealed a hardness comparable to steel. The inverted tower. In a large hall where machinery and flesh were combined, a man dressed in gray and wearing a black robe, with intricate mechanical structures swirling on his face, walked in with large steps. His gaze was gloomy, and his voice was extremely cold. "Have the 3 hunters in Ghost Soul Lane been contacted?" Several servants in the hall turned around, pounding their chests with one hand, solemnly saying, "The signal has been established. Vice Chairman of Mechanica, we can take control of the 3 hunters at any time." Mechanica indifferently walked towards the central screen in the hall, and said deeply, "Bring the visual feed. I want first-hand information from Ghost Soul Lane." Yes, those servants quickly operated. The screen in front of him slowly lit up with red light, accompanied by flashes. 3 scenes appeared on the screen, and reflected in the scenes were Lin and the blood cloak evil spirit currently battling the hunters. Mechanica's eyes narrowed instantly. At first glance, he captured the figure of the psychopathic and excited red-clothed evil spirit in the screen, and that frenzied figure completely suppressing the 2 hunters. Kill, 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 kill. Ha ha. The insane laughter, combined with the frenzied dance, was like a feast of slaughter. Blood cloak evil spirit. "It's her." Mechanica's eyebrows instantly furrowed, his expression slightly serious. He recognized this evil spirit conglomerate. Especially in Sin City, this solitary and eccentric woman was very famous, because she was a demon who could engage in slaughter according to her own preferences, especially when she entered a combat state. Her morbid excitement and determination not to stop until she killed her opponent made her someone many high-level powerhouses didn't want to provoke. Impossible. Even she couldn't possibly kill the flesh puppet type 3. His gaze narrowed. Apart from being the chairman of the Mechanica Association, he was also the direct overseer of this internal purge. In these days, he had used various methods, threats, and inducements to kill the dozens of elders who used to be the dominant force in the Mechanica Association. Then he turned his head, looking at the visual feed of the 3rd hunter. Then, he saw the young man with the strange left hand. Human. His gaze became increasingly dark. He saw it at a glance. Apart from the oddity of the left hand, the true strength of this human was quite weak. But then his gaze fell on the revolver in the hands of the human, and finally, when he saw the gun, his expression changed slightly. Hunter's revolver. Only at this moment did he slightly value the human youth, because he could clearly see that the blood cloak evil spirit, who usually acted alone, seemed to be on the same side as him. And in the hands of this seemingly frail youth, there was the hunter's revolver that the playboy guy had never let go of. And this indicated many problems. Synchronize my nerves with hunter number 3. Mechanica closed his eyes, forcefully pulling out a viscous mechanical interface from the back of his head, plugging it into the flesh interface in the hall. Yes, Vice Chairman, sir. Nervous information synchronization in progress. Identity verification. Mechanica, highest authority. Neural synchronization with Hunter number 3 successful. Link activated. Buzz. In an instant, when Mechanica opened his eyes again, he had already controlled the body of Hunter number 3, and his gaze instantly fell on Lin, dozens of meters away. Almost at the same moment, Lin's ears also received a system prompt. The moment Lin heard the prompt, he also almost instantly sensed the difference in the hunter in front of him. Compared to the previous gaze, the current hunter's eyes were cold and wise, no longer mechanical, more like a human. Oh no, a severe crisis swept in like thunder. Left hand, be careful, Lin shouted loudly. He was about to step back instantly, but the hunter suddenly raised his head, and his body shot towards Lin at the speed of lightning. The left hand instantly opened its huge mouth, employing the same technique. The sharp tongue rushed towards the hunter. Transformation. High temperature. Fire attribute. The hunter's pupils were instantly covered with a layer of high-temperature flames. The mantis knife on his arm also emitted extremely hot light, shooting out countless sparks. Boom. A loud noise. In the midst of the chaotic storm, the high-temperature blade instantly slashed through. The long tongue of the left hand was neatly cut off under the extreme heat. A painful cry. The left hand quickly retracted, and the long tongue was reduced to a smoking half. Can it regenerate? The left hand swung its tongue, and the broken half of the tongue instantly began to grow. It grew back again. Almost instantly, the hunter appeared in front of Lin like a remnant, with the blazing blade in his hand slashing towards Lin. I'm coming. The left hand instantly grabbed the bone-cutting knife entwined on Lin's tentacle. Click. Intense flames erupted instantly. The arm extended like a snake, holding the knife in its left hand, clashing with the hunter in a frontal knife fight. Obviously, the resentment from having its tongue cut off just now erupted at this moment. Clang, clang, the clash of blades, countless sparks bursting. But Lin could see at a glance that the hunter on the opposite side seemed like a different person, with rich combat experience, effortlessly handling every attack. On the other hand, the left hand's attacks were fierce but lacked some tactics, more like a chaotic and unrefined slashing technique. Lin quickly raised his gun and shot at the hunter from the side, continuously urging, "Show your strength to deal with that flesh puppet. Weren't you super brave yesterday?" The left hand slashed and said, "That was from the inside. Now it's the outside." Lin shouted loudly, "I'm a doctor. It messed you up. I'll stitch you up again." But there's no chance. Lin quickly retreated, his eyes constantly flickering. This really is a world where you could die at any moment. Then I'll create that opportunity for you. Lin instantly reached into his chest and pulled out a pitch-black eyeball filled with tumors. Cursed object. After being used by the flesh puppet, it can launch a curse of petrification. Needs complete fusion with the body to activate. The cursed eye of the flesh puppet type 3. When you gaze into the abyss gazes back at you. Its eyes are filled with curses and resentment. Where its gaze falls, everything dissolves in its field of vision, melting and disintegrating. And it was in the next moment. Splatter. A bloody eyeball was plucked out from his right eye socket. He blew on it, took out a small bottle from his pocket, carefully placed his eyeball inside, and then picked up the monster's eyeball, forcefully stuffing it into his eye socket. It hurts like hell. Lin's right eye was bleeding, and he quickly activated the ability of Flesh Catastrophe. Left hand. Step aside. Lin roared instantly, covering his bleeding right eye, and his whole body hunched down due to the immense burden of his right eye. Upon hearing the voice, the left hand instantly retracted, and upon seeing Lin's right eye, it showed a look of great astonishment. Did you use that puppet's eye? Lin suddenly lifted his head, focusing his gaze on the hunter with a ferocious look. Petrification curse. Activate. Buzz. An almost string-breaking buzz. The pupil of Lin's right eye instantly contracted, and countless densely packed black lines quickly focused on the center of the pupil. The hunter trembled instantly, sensing a huge crisis approaching. Almost in an instant, he instinctively increased his speed to the extreme, to the point where afterimages appeared. But the curse had already been activated. Creak. As if a malevolent spirit emitted a sharp screech after being burnt to a crisp. Wherever the gaze reached, whether it was the surrounding walls or the bricks on the ground, they instantly melted into a viscous slurry at an unimaginable speed. And this was an open space with nowhere to hide. Even if the hunter's speed was fast, in this open space, his body was instantly affected, and corrosion appeared on the surface. The control demon who controlled the killer's face changed dramatically. How is this possible? And at this moment, he finally confirmed that even if this young man did not kill his flesh puppet, he was definitely connected to it. This person must be killed. In an instant, he gritted his teeth, enduring the piercing corrosion and dissolution, rushing directly towards Lin. Left hand. Quickly, Lin forcefully restrained his right eye, shouting frantically. At this moment, the left hand suddenly floated forward, revealing a hot-blooded and sharp smirk. "All right, leave it to me." Wow, a sound resembling a crow's long cry. The sharp jaws on the left hand suddenly opened, and a terrifying tearing force swept through the entire street. The bricks on the ground were lifted and shattered, the surrounding buildings cracked incessantly, and even the black mist lingering over the street was drawn into the mouth of the left hand like a tornado. Like an eye of a storm. That black mouth, like an abyss. The horrifying scene caused a massive deviation in the trajectory of the hunter. The mechanized demon's expression changed instantly. At that moment, even he had to stop immediately, forcefully inserting his twin blades into the ground to prevent himself from being swallowed by the immense suction into the mouth that resembled a black hole. But in that instant, he immediately sensed something was wrong. "No good," he roared. "Locked onto you." A mysterious smile suddenly tore across Lin's face. In an instant, his right eye focused on the hunter, who was forced to stop high-speed movement. The surging curse spread all over the hunter's body like the sinister whispers of a ghost. Its body quickly showed extensive corrosion. Crackling, numerous blisters and boils resembling burns appeared on the giant spider legs. His face instantly became unrecognizable. Warning: extensive dissolution damage to the body. Emergency activation of potent healing. Emergency activation of curse countermeasure. The hunter's body instantly triggered its built-in countermeasures. But in that moment, it suddenly saw the human youth extend his hand and pull out a black clothed arm from behind. "It's not over yet." Lin's mouth instantly stretched into a wide grin, revealing a slightly crazy and pathological smile. A tremendous sense of unease instantly swept over the demon. Heavy biological fusion organ. Spews scorching dragon's breath. A forbidden biological extermination weapon of the flesh puppet. A powerful killing machine incorporating the head of a giant dragon. The searing dragon flame has a strong purifying effect on dark creatures. The dragon head, filled with resentment, will unleash all its endless hatred upon everything before it. Roar. In that moment, a massive dragon roar echoed through the night sky. The mouth of the black dragon's head instantly condensed a light that illuminated the entire street. The massive dragon mouth opened suddenly, as if to annihilate all impurities in the world. The scorching dragon breath, full of boundless rage, spewed out towards the entire street like inverted lava. Roar. The hot flames instantly engulfed everything in sight. In the hanging tower, the huge screen was instantly dominated by the scene of the rolling dragon flame. All the researchers in the Hunter's Hall showed expressions of shock and astonishment. The immense momentum made them involuntarily step back. And just in the next moment, the screen of Hunter number 3 instantly cracked. Warning: Hunter number 3 core melting, neural source synchronization automatically disconnected. Accompanied by the pungent smell emitted by the high temperature, the plug pulled out from the back of the demon instantly shattered, and the intense backlash directly disconnected him from the neural synchronization with Hunter number 3. Demon Lord, are you alright? The surrounding servants immediately gathered in shock. That guy used the slaughter weapon I carefully set up for the flesh puppet. How dare he? In his eyes, the human was clearly a weak fighter. Apart from his peculiar left hand, the only effective weapon against him was the hunting revolver in his hand. But he never expected that the human could load the flesh puppet's biological weapon onto his own body. No, that guy couldn't possibly be a human, because humans could never have such terrifying abilities. Could it be? He's a biological weapon developed by Bloodsaw. He gritted his teeth. Yes, this was the only possibility. Bloodsaw was an elder figure in their demon association, one of the most advanced biochemical monsters researching giants back in the day. In the past decade, he might have hidden in that remote place and developed new biochemical creations. Along with the sounds of the signal being cut off, 2 more screens instantly went dark. Demon Lord, Hunter number 1 and number 2 have been destroyed by that bloodied evil spirit. We lost the signal connection there. 2 servants walked over with solemn faces. The demon grinned. Don't worry, tomorrow I'll personally take my flesh puppet to meet them. Have we found Bloodsaw? One of the servants said solemnly. The other hunters are tracking him. From the information we've obtained so far, Bloodsaw is likely heading to the puppet courtyard. He has an intimate relationship with the puppet lady there. The demon narrowed his eyes, gripping his fingers. Ghost Alley, the bloodied evil spirit, who had torn both hunters into pieces, quickly recovered from the frenzy of the cursed state. She immediately turned around, looking at the dense smoke emanating from the other side of the street after the surging tongues of fire subsided. Even she, who had just experienced the surge of dragon breath, felt palpitations and shock. She swiftly passed through the smoke. "Lin, are you all right?" And when she saw Lin's appearance, she too instantly revealed a shocked expression. The entire street was destroyed. At the end of the smoke, Lin coughed hard, the dragon's breath arm on his shoulder disconnected from the neural link, falling to the ground. "Everything has been taken care of," he stated. The bloodcloth evil spirit frowned, but judging from the situation, it seems this time only a scout team for investigation came. "You might have attracted the attention of a massive organization. If you don't find a solution soon, you'll likely face even greater disasters in the coming days." After experiencing the events of yesterday and today, the bloodcloth evil spirit has realized the seriousness of the situation. In this dark world, if there is an organization dedicated to researching top-tier biological weapons, it is none other than the Demon Association. They are adept at combining machinery and flesh, making them unique in the entire dark world. "How did you offend such an organization?" Bloodcloth evil spirit looked at Lin and said, "I rarely see you leave Soul Alley. How did you manage to offend such an organization? Did you perhaps let someone die while treating them, and now they hold a grudge against you?" Lin shook his head calmly. "The specific situation should be related to my teacher's encounter, but I can't contact my teacher now, and I'm not very clear about what happened. But regardless, today's sleepless night has finally passed safely. Let's clean up the battlefield. It's not suitable to stay here for long. If we attract the attention of other monsters at this time, it won't be worth the loss." "Agreed." Half an hour later, Bloodsaw Apothecary. "It's getting late. There probably won't be any more trouble today. You should go back and rest, miss." Bloodcloth evil spirit nodded, picked up the cute child, and said, "Yes, if you encounter anything you can't handle, remember to contact me first. Let the curse stay on me for these days. After resolving this crisis, you can heal me." After saying that, Bloodcloth evil spirit reached out, smiled, and rubbed Lin's hair, then turned and left the Bloodsaw Apothecary with her cute child. It can be said that although this lady is eccentric, after experiencing these 2 days' events, it is evident that she is a very reliable evil spirit. Lin didn't stay any longer. He quickly closed the door, returned to the backyard's guest room, and closed his eyes on the bed. Today can be considered an unusually crisis-ridden day. Although not as terrifying as yesterday, the change in the hunter's appearance still caught his attention. It can be sure, the one controlling that hunter must be a member of the Demon Association. In other words, it is still the calm before the storm. If he doesn't find a way to deal with it, in the next few days, he will definitely face even more terrifying attacks. Lin made up his mind. System, enter the field of view. Instantly, accompanied by a huge sense of disorientation, Lin's consciousness suddenly left his body. The next moment, he appeared in that familiar illusionary square. The huge pupils above continued to shine eternally. As soon as he stepped in, a barrage of information bombarded his ears. Lin widened his eyes. Can't be true. Information leaked into the field so quickly. And there's actually a video. Does that mean there were other people on the street during the battle? Lin quickly clicked to enter. Instantly, a screen of rolling black mist unfolded before Lin's eyes. And in the center of the screen was the hunter with a human face and spider-like body that they had just dealt with not long ago. The next moment, Lin saw his own handsome face in the frame. The timing of the screen cut in was mid-battle, precisely the moment he had just installed the focused eye and launched a counterattack against the hunter. The screen displayed that the current viewers had surged to 2,000, and on the screen, rows of comments quickly floated by. "It's actually that doctor. I recognize him. It's terrifying. Is his strength really so strong? He's so handsome. I want him. No wonder when I passed by that pharmacy yesterday, the storefront was in tatters. I thought it had finally been smashed. But looking at this situation, maybe that doctor was involved in yesterday's battle too. Want him X2. This is too strong. I always thought he was just a harmless apprentice. I didn't expect our Soul Alley to hide such a formidable existence. Want him X3. Rows and rows of comments continued to float on the screen. There were local residents of Soul Alley, as well as creatures from other regions in the same area. Many were curious, asking about the information of the people on the screen. The number of viewers quickly soared to 3,000. In other words, just from this one piece of information, the information sharer earned at least 90,000 skull coins. This is simply a lucrative business. But at the same time, it made Lin particularly amazed, because during the battle, he had not observed any other creatures around. He may not have been able to observe due to his weak strength, but neither his left hand nor Bloodcloth evil spirit detected anything abnormal, indicating a problem. Lin fell into contemplation. Obviously, this informant should be rooted in the field of view, belonging to a highly capable creature. Information sharing should be its main business. Since that's the case, maybe he can. Indeed, it's a merchant. Without further ado, Lin's gaze quickly focused on its information interface. In an instant, his vision blurred, and the scene in front of him quickly distorted. In the next moment, he found himself on a chair in a small room. The room was tiny, with only a lamp on the front desk and a mysterious figure in a black robe on the other side of the counter. "Customer, may I ask what you need?" The black-robed figure calmly addressed Lin, who had suddenly appeared. Lin glanced around, his eyes landing on the figure in the black robe, and calmly said, "You're the information sharer." The black-robed figure, accustomed to such questions, responded calmly, "I am Information Officer 24, responsible for the information in Zone 900. I can provide you with all valuable information in this area, of course, at a considerable price." Lin glanced at it and said, "But it looks quite deserted here." 24 slowly said, "This is an independent grid I applied for in the field of view. Every customer who enters my shop will be sent to an independent grid space. Currently, I am also serving 754 customers in other grids." Lin nodded. Impressive. Serving so many customers simultaneously is not something a normal physique can achieve. Without further ado, Lin thought for a moment and earnestly inquired, "I want to purchase some information. Let's see if you have relevant sources." "Please." 24 responded with a concise tone. "First question, I want to know the exact location of Bloodsaw." A brief silence. Candlelight flickered. Then, 24 spoke unchanged, 50 black skull coins. "What? 50 black skull coins? That's a whole 50,000 skull coins. Insane. I can't even get that much by selling my entire store." The information acquisition is in real-time tracking, and the price has increased by 50 times. Currently, more than just you are looking for the coordinates of the target. Lin's mind stirred. Indeed, his teacher's current situation is not good. Apart from him, the Demon Association is undoubtedly using various means to find his teacher. Lin calmed down, and with composure, he said, "Second question. How can I quickly remotely contact a specific creature?" 24 continued without any pause. "Depending on the method, the charging standards vary. Minimum charge, 100 skull coins. Maximum charge, 100,000 black skull coins. You can choose specific criteria." Lin closed his eyes and said, "The cheapest one. Direct transfer. Skull coins minus 100. 24 nodded and said slowly, "Currency received. For you, the fastest way to remotely contact a specific creature is through the field of view. The field of view is a mirrored world that overlaps with the dark world. Because it has a teleportation function, you can communicate freely with any creature registered in the field of view." Brief silence. Lin hesitated. "What's next?" 24 said calmly, "Answer completed. Thank you for your patronage." Lin was annoyed. "Is this worth $100? If I can contact it in the field of view, do I still need to ask you?" 24 succinctly said, "This is the lowest level of information. In other words, cheap things aren't good." Lin tried to calm his mood, closed his eyes, and said, "This time I need information worth 1 black skull coin. Successful transfer. Skull coins minus 1,000. 24 paused for a moment and then said slowly, "Currency received. For you, you can hire a contract messenger to remotely send messages. Depending on the price of the contract messenger, there is a slight difference in the speed of delivering letters." After saying this, like a sculpture, 24 stretched out a pale and delicate hand from the black robe and placed a roster in front of the counter. "We also operate a messenger hiring service here. You can choose any messenger here." Lin glanced at it. "This information seems to be worth it." Lin's gaze then fell on the roster on the counter and opened it. Doombat, Beast-type messenger, can quickly transmit information through the target's body tissues and true name. Also brings misfortune to the target. Tamed Hellhound, possesses a sensitive sense of smell and tracking ability. Can send messages from a distance with just a hint of scent, but there's a high probability it won't return. Void Leaper, extremely efficient messenger with the fastest speed in the dark world. Fast delivery, fast teleportation, fast demise, fast in all aspects. Decalin Turtle King, possesses the top defense and armor at the top of the dark world pyramid. Can guarantee the integrity of the letter 100%. Stable as heck, with a 0 failure rate, consistently ranking first on the information security list, unshakable. Lin looked around and felt like the Turtle King might be a bit reliable. Decalin Turtle King, let's go with that. 24 paused, seemingly checking, and then said slowly, reserving for you. Currently, there are 5 idle Turtle King messengers. Accident rate, 0. Speed, 1 meter divided by h. Wait a minute. Lin instantly interrupted it, hesitating. 1 meter divided by h. 24 nodded, saying, yes, because the breed has undergone special improvement. The speed has increased more than tenfold compared to previous years. The Turtle King you reserved maintains the record of our store's Turtle King racing competition throughout the year, temporarily unbeatable. For a long time. Is there anything more reliable here? Lin took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and clenched his fists. 24 slowly said, only the current 4 messengers are idle, but we are accelerating the domestication of more types of messengers. If you are dissatisfied, you can come back to patronize us in a few days. Lin frowned. His brain quickly turned. After a while, he hesitated. High safety of the Ghost King but slow speed. 24 nodded, yes. He thought for a moment. Fast speed but quick demise for the Void Beast. 24 hesitated for a moment, nodded, and said, yes. Lin slapped the table. Calm as ever, reserve 2 of each for me, I need them urgently. 24 nodded, and after a brief pause, it said slowly, reservation for you is successful. You can fill in your address in the dark world. We will arrange delivery for you as soon as possible. Because it is a biological contract, transactions cannot take place in the field of view. Rest assured, we will not leak your information. You can fill it out with confidence. It placed a form in front of Lin. Lin hesitated for a moment, then glanced at it, casually filled in the address next door. 24 took back the form and said slowly, 2 Void Leapers, 2 Decayland Turtle Kings, totaling 26 skull coins for your hiring fee. After payment, we will immediately dispatch them to you. Didn't I just give you $1,000? Lin was anxious. 24 calmly said, just now was the consultation fee for information. Now it's the messenger hiring fee, which needs to be settled separately. Ding. Skull coins minus 26 0. 24 said slowly, currency received, arranging delivery for you. You can go back and wait. It is estimated that within 2 hours, we will deliver the biological contract scrolls to you, along with instruction manuals. You can use them correctly according to the instructions. Thank you for your patronage. The pharmacy. Lin slowly opened his eyes, leaving the field of vision. He immediately sat up, glanced at his still soundly sleeping left hand, quickly took out the night demon knife, flew out of the pharmacy, and cautiously entered the abandoned house next to the shop. He found a well-hidden spot with a good view and hid, waiting for the delivery, although there were some pitfalls. But at this point, he must quickly contact the teacher and Zio. Otherwise, if the Demon Association really sends a strong force, he will be truly powerless. During this time, Lin quickly opened the system space and took out the 2 special items he had obtained. Random Diagnosis Technique. Lin carefully read the descriptions on them. The random diagnosis technique seemed a bit awesome. So, having this skill means you can quickly diagnose the target. Lin pondered. After listening to the prompt, Lin drew in a cold breath. Indeed, it was worthy of being a legendary level special skill. It could actually bestow disease effects on the target. This is too amazing. In an instant, a sinister idea formed in Lin's mind. Bestow disease plus treat disease equals easy money. Oh, too malicious. No, he is a morally upright and conscientious young man. He cannot do something so against his conscience. Lin glanced at his left hand. A series of system prompts sounded in Lin's ear. With just a quick glance, Lin saw through the symptoms of the diseases on his left hand. Lin secretly took a deep breath, greatly surprised. Because it was too powerful. It was truly too powerful. This skill was like a divine technique for a doctor like him. Then, Lin's gaze hesitated. How about trying the active skill a little? No, it's too unethical. Moreover, it's using his own left hand as a test subject, and that would be against his conscience. Just a little try should be no big problem. Lin thought for a moment. Give it a try. He immediately made up his mind, focused his gaze on his soundly sleeping left hand, and his pupils shrank instantly. Activate. And it was in the next moment. The palm of his left hand, which was soundly asleep, turned pale and suddenly woke up. So dizzy, a bit nauseous. What's going on? Did I eat something bad? Then a feeling of nausea suddenly overwhelmed him. Can't hold it. Ugh. Wow. The left hand instantly vomited out a large amount of mutilated limbs. Ugh. Soon after vomiting, the left hand drooped down, saying, "Why did I suddenly vomit? Something's wrong." Lin immediately seriously took out a bottle of restorative potion from his pocket, and said, "I told you not to eat so much randomly. Look, now you're sick. You ate so much spoiled meat yesterday, and today you even ate 3 mechanical things. It's strange if you don't vomit. Come on, Drink this potion and rest well. The left hand yawned and arrogantly said, don't think I'll say thank you, and don't think you can bribe me with just a bottle of potion. I might still eat you at some point. Heh. Lin, indeed. It is a very powerful skill. 2 hours passed quickly, and in the next moment, Lin suddenly felt a slight movement from outside. He quickly opened his eyes, alertly hiding. A cold wind rushed in from outside, blowing the door with a creaking sound. And under Lin's gaze, a tall and thin ghostly figure appeared at the door. Your delivery. A hoarse voice, as if the throat was burned, came from outside the door. It seems that it is indeed the delivery from the informant. Mr. Xuanmu, is it you? Lin nodded. It's me. Lin showed the identification given to him by the informant. The tall and thin ghostly figure sniffed slightly, confirmed the identity, and then stiffly stretched out his pale hand, took off his celestial scents, and took out a beautifully packaged wooden box from inside. Please, accept. Lin glanced at him. Then he took the box, opened it, and saw 4 neatly arranged scrolls inside, with a card next to them. On the card was written in the universal text of the dark world. The tall and thin ghostly figure handed Lin a feather pen. Lin thought for a moment. Then he reached out and took the pen. Accidentally touching the fingertips of the ghostly figure, Lin suddenly felt an indescribable chill that instantly spread throughout his body, making him shudder uncontrollably. But at the same time, he heard prompts in his ears. Lin was momentarily stunned. Then he lifted his head with a click sound, looking solemnly into the eyes of the messenger, unmoving. The slender ghostly figure paused, not understanding why the human in front of him was staring at him so intently, and the gaze seemed a bit unsettling, making one feel a bit uneasy. Could you? Signed, I need to go back. Report, he hoarsely said. Lin extended his hand, saying seriously, wait a moment. The slender ghostly figure was taken aback, asking, what's wrong? Lin deepened his voice, have you recently felt abdominal pain? Whole body chills, occasional knee trembling when walking, and an impulse to cry when looking in the mirror. Instantly, the slender ghostly figure stiffened in place. What's going on? How could he know? That's right. In recent months, he had indeed felt extremely uncomfortable all over his body, especially after going to the freezing bone land to deliver a message a few months ago. Various parts of his body had been subtly off. But how could he know these symptoms? Friend, your life is in danger, Lin said deeply. As you can see, I am a professional doctor. When I touched your fingertips just now, I sensed that something was wrong with your body. May I ask if you have experienced the symptoms I just mentioned? The slender ghostly figure hesitated. Yes, a bit. Lin nodded, saying seriously, have you been to extremely cold places recently and been injured by some twisted creature? Do you feel knee pain on cloudy days? The slender ghostly figure exclaimed. How do you know? Lin squinted his eyes, saying, let's not worry about how I know. You just need to know that your problem is serious. If left untreated, you may end up paralyzed or even lose your life. Fortunately, you've encountered me, a professional doctor who saves lives. If it weren't for our fate, I wouldn't have told you these things. Next to it is my shop. Let me take a good look at you. Don't worry, the cost won't be high. A few minutes later, in the dim bloodsaw apothecary, the slender ghostly figure sat dazed on a small stool, looking at the human youth on the opposite side who had already put on a white coat. He didn't know why, but he followed in unconsciously, according to reason. Shouldn't he hurry back to report? But the symptoms he mentioned just now had indeed troubled him for several months. Moreover, the doctor only touched him lightly and revealed all his symptoms. Could it be? As a mere messenger, he had unexpectedly encountered a stroke of luck. Lin looked at him seriously and said, Customer, your illness is a bit complicated and a bit extensive. Come, lift your leg first. The slender ghostly figure subconsciously looked at his own legs, then glanced at Lin's trustworthy eyes. He obediently placed his leg on the counter. Bang! Lin took out a small hammer and knocked on his knee. Lin asked seriously, does it hurt? The slender ghostly figure shivered. It hurts. Much more than before. 10 times more. Lin said deeply, good, that's right. The root of the disease is here. Your symptoms indicate that you are suffering from severe wind dampness caused by cold. If you continue like this, sooner or later, you'll have osteophyte growth and won't be able to get out of bed. The slender ghostly figure trembled. But it wasn't this painful before. It only hurts this much after you hit me just now. Did I hit you hard? Lin asked seriously. The slender ghostly figure, no, not hard. Even if it's not hard, and it hurts so much, it means the disease has already penetrated into your bones. Do you really want to end up in a state where you can't get out of bed? The slender ghostly figure stammered, but it's not that serious, right? Lin slapped the table, frightening the slender ghostly figure into trembling all over. Lin said deeply, absolutely absurd. Do you know how many patients have died because of a mentality of reliance on luck and then stubbornly endured their own suffering until death? Do you know the kind of torment when the pain truly erodes your entire body? Lin's body leaned forward slowly, saying deeply, so damn painful, especially on overcast days. At first, it's just ants crawling, and then it's like a hammer pounding. Later, it's like the hissing of knives, one after another, swelling like a meatball with every touch. Just damn painful. The slender ghostly figure, constantly leaning backward, staring with wide eyes, gripping the legs of the stool, began to tremble uncontrollably. Treat. I'll get treatment now. Doctor, please stop talking. Please stop talking. A few minutes later, this is our specially made bloodsaw tendon and bone patch. Use it 3 times a day, 1 patch each time. After applying, you'll feel warm, itchy, and significant relief from pain. This is an internal medicine prescription for treating wind-damp pain. Boil these 2 pounds of medicine and drink it. Once a day, drink for 7 consecutive days. If it doesn't work, come back to me. You have a long and slender body, clearly malnourished. I'll give you some tonic medicine to ensure you're healthy and can run a marathon like Liu Xiang. Lin calmly stuffed various medicines into the arms of the slender ghostly figure. The slender ghostly figure sat dazed, holding the gradually absurd pile of medicines, saying, Doctor, isn't the medicine a bit too much to drink? Lin calmly said, too much. This is just the medicine for treating your wind damp. I haven't mentioned the medicines for other illnesses yet. The slender ghostly figure shivered, asking, what else is there? Lin sat down, pushed the medicines aside, and said seriously, in the past few days, have your bones been constantly chilly? And no matter how you exercise or keep warm, you can't suppress that chill. The slender ghostly figure widened his ghostly eyes, looking at his pale hands. Yes, Lin squinted, saying, and do you always feel that the chill comes from the inside, surging from the abdomen to the whole body in waves? The slender ghostly figure exclaimed, exactly. Lin said deeply, based on my preliminary diagnosis, you should have contracted a severe cold poison, even a malignant one. Moreover, this disease stove has caused malignant cysts to form in your abdomen. The slender ghostly figure shockedly said, this is impossible. Clang. Lin pulled out his night demon knife, saying calmly, whether it's true or not, we'll know once we open you up. 10 minutes later, operating room. The slender ghostly figure trembled on the operating table, watching Lin sharpening the knife, and said, are we really going to have surgery? Lin nodded, blew on the reflective knife, and closed his eyes, saying, there's no other way. The root of the disease is there. Without surgery, relying on medication alone is impossible. The slender ghostly figure shivered and stammered, Can you use anesthesia? Lin was taken aback. He then apologized with a smile, touched the back of his head, and said, I almost forgot again. Look at my memory, rest assured, I'll give you the anesthesia right away. Haha. After saying that, Lin quickly put down the knife and rummaged through the bottles and jars in the cabinet behind him. Something's wrong. This doesn't seem right. Isn't it normal procedure to use anesthesia for surgery? Why do you seem to not even know where your anesthesia is? He trembled as he watched Lin's back, increasingly feeling that this doctor was unreliable. And finally, in the next moment, I found it. He heard the joyful voice from Lin. The slender ghostly figure breathed a sigh of relief. Expired. Lin frowned, looking at the bottle in his hand. Lin turned around, looked at the teeth gritting, eyes glaring, and trembling slender ghostly figure. How about? Lin frowned. Can you endure it for a bit? No. The slender ghostly figure instinctively reached out, looking terrified. He absolutely didn't want to endure it. Just tapping his leg a moment ago was already so painful. If surgery is done without anesthesia, who knows how painful it might be. Seeing the patient resist so much, Lin thought for a moment, then frowned slightly. But there is another method of anesthesia. I don't know if you're willing to try. What method? The slender ghostly figure seemed to see hope. Lin solemnly said, physical anesthesia. The slender ghostly figure said, physical anesthesia. Bang. Ding. You stunned the slender ghostly figure, gaining 10 points of basic experience. Ding. You successfully removed the cyst from the slender ghostly figure, increasing your surgical ability by +10. Ding. You corrected the dislocated waist for the slender ghostly figure, increasing your internal medicine ability by +1. Half an hour later, Lin supported the trembling and shivering slender ghostly figure out of the operating room. The slender figure had a vacant look, leaning on crutches, with a drip attached. His head was wrapped in bandages, physical anesthesia. His waist was wrapped in bandages, removed the cyst. No, dislocated waist. His legs were wrapped in bandages, old wind dampness. His face was wrapped in bandages, ugly. Sir, everything went very smoothly. The cyst has been removed, but the lingering cold toxins in your body need further care. This is a new prescription I prepared for you. Take it on time. Remember, don't stop the drip, don't stop the medication. I guarantee that within a week, you'll be cured. Lin raised his thumb solemnly. Thank you, he said in a hollow tone. I wish happiness to your family. Lin said, no need to thank, it's what I should do. Your bill is ready. Surgery plus medication, a total of 3,000 skull coins. Will you pay in cash or something else? Lin's smile was unusually friendly. The slender ghostly figure trembled as he took out 3 black skull coins from his pocket and placed them on the counter. Just one visit to the doctor, and half a year's worth of family fortune is gone. No wonder people say not to go to the hospital. You and your wallet will definitely suffer. Can I leave now? He really didn't want to stay here for another moment. Came to deliver a package. Left with a whole bunch of illnesses. I still need to report back. Wait a moment. Smiling, Lin quickly took out the 4 scrolls from the box, carefully checked them, then closed his eyes and put them back in the box with satisfaction. But what he didn't notice was that a hair accidentally brushed over his fingertips from the edge of the scroll. No problem, I'll. But before he finished speaking, a prompt from the system sounded in his ears. Din, you discovered the target diseases, congenital severe paralysis. Din, you discovered the target diseases, permanent skin suppuration. Din, you discovered the target diseases, malignant toxin residue from parasitic moths. Din, you discovered the target diseases, intermittent limb dissolution. Lin was suddenly taken aback. Immediately, his gaze locked onto the box. He was sure he hadn't touched any living beings just now, but these prompts. In the next moment, Lin's gaze caught the long hair on the scroll. What is this? Lin squinted. Could it be the informant? He glanced at the slender ghostly figure and asked, Sir, did anyone else handle my mail? When it came to his work, the slender ghostly figure immediately became serious and said, No, my master always delivers one-on-one. This was personally packaged by my master, and absolutely no other creature has touched it. This statement made Lin understand. He smiled inwardly. It seems that the informant was right, and it looks like it's suffering from various strange diseases. No wonder it stays in the field of vision for information work all year round. In an instant, Lin remembered the thousands of skull coins he was scammed out of in the field of vision before. Lin smiled slightly, quickly picked up a pen, and wrote on the back of the card, Xuanmu, respected informant, hello. I have successfully received your mail, thank you. However, it seems that you accidentally left a strand of your hair in the mail. As a professional doctor, I unintentionally noticed some unfavorable conditions from your hair. Lin listed the diseases he had found. I deeply sympathize with your pain. If you see my receipt, please remember to come to Xiongmu Mr. S Pharmacy at 40 in the field of vision. Remember to make an appointment and bring enough money. I can provide you with further diagnosis and treatment. I wish you good health. Your loyal doctor, Mr. Xuanmu. The receipt is ready. Please make sure to deliver it to your master. I am very satisfied with this shipment. Lin smiled as he handed the card to the slender, ghostly figure. The slender, ghostly figure glanced at the contents on the card, and his face instantly turned an unsettling shade of green. This was beyond outrageous. Could one strand of hair really diagnose a multitude of life-threatening diseases for his master? Was he soaring through the skies on a rocket? But that was none of his business. Without saying a word, the slender, ghostly figure immediately turned around, using crutches and carrying the IV drip. He hurriedly headed towards the door. Just as he reached the door, he heard Lin's loud shout from behind. Guest, welcome to come again. Thank you for your patronage. The slender, ghostly figure trembled. The hand on the crutch accelerated, almost as if he was fleeing into the black mist. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.